Alright, we are live. So today I'm going to be talking about connecting your SmartPoi to your Android phone using the phone hotspot instead of the access point on your main POI. Why do we need to do this? Well, the main POI, if you're using the access point, which is the default, is doing twice as much work. That means it's routing messages for the auxiliary POI. Also, the ESP chips have very low power, so we lose the signal easily. Routing is faster with the router or hotspot. Faster uploads, SmartPoi controls works better. UDP should work better as well. It's not perfect though. So SmartPoi access point also has no internet, so your phone has no internet while you are connected and to the POI, and some advanced features of the new Magic POI will require internet. For example, the instant downloading of saved timelines, etc. So we're going to get into the how do you do this in a minute, but first of all I've got a little infographic. Just pop this over here. So what we have is our smartphone over here. We have this connection to, here's our two POI. So this is the main POI. What happens is the smartphone says, here you go, here's some pics. And then the main POI, which is acting as the access point, has to send those pics also over to the auxiliary, or any messages over to the auxiliary. If the auxiliary wants to reply to the app, it has to send it via the main POI. So the main POI is getting overloaded over here, and you might notice sometimes they switch off, they restart. Instability is not ideal. So what we're looking at here is the access point running on your phone, and each POI can talk directly to the access point. The phone does all the work, and yeah, things are much better, and you get internet as well, vastly improved. So how does this work? Well, there's a few steps. Luckily you don't have to do this more than once. So I'm just going to go through my notes. Input the hotspot information into the router settings box. So what we are looking at here is this box over here on the controls app, where we need to hotspot information. It's this. There we go. So this is where you're putting your hotspot information. So in order to do that, we'll need to start up the hotspot. So this, on my Samsung phone, this is where you start a hotspot, and then in order to get the information, you just long press that thing here, and you get the network name and the password. So there you have it. Now in order to first things first, in order to do that, we actually need to get out of the, goodness me, we need to get out of the hotspot here, and we switch on these POI and connect as usual to the access point on the POI. So first things first, we are going to connect to the POI. It's going to show up here at some point. Sometimes you need to go on a 2.4G for it to show up. There we go. There's a bit of a conflict with 5G. Okay, so we'll just wait for this to connect here. Connected. Alright, so now we can open this SmartPoi Controls app and just double check we are online. We're going to check that by fetching the settings. There we go. And we're going to update the thing. Now I already put this in here, but you will have to type in your own hotspot information, and you submit that, and then you can double check it by fetching the settings, and you can check that everything's accurate. Sorry, I got the app to do it a few times just to make sure, so that's why that did that. So all the settings are correct, and now we've submitted that. Now the other thing important, router mode, we need to switch this on, so you check that box. If it's off, you check the box and you press submit. And it said it did it, but I normally do it a couple of times because of this. It's going through here. The POI, main POI is sending the message over to the auxiliary POI, so they're talking to each other. Sometimes this one gets a bit overloaded, so hence we're doing this whole thing. So now we restart the POI, but before we do that, we need to, so we've saved everything on the POI, and then we are going to what are we going to do? Put the hotspot on. There we go. Correct. Put the hotspot on. It's a bit of an operation, but yeah, this is what you have to do. So we've got our hotspot on. How do we see that on this phone? Yeah. Okay, so there's our hotspot and it's on. Alright, so now we are going to restart this POI. Now, if the POI is in router mode, then every second time it starts up, it will try and connect to the phone. Okay, so here's your phone. The POI are going to try and connect now, and if they connect successfully, these things turn green, the LEDs. So we'll just start it up and just double check that the green happens, and there we have it. So that was green, both of them fully connected. Okay, if it doesn't go green, it's not connected. And you can check that by going here to your hotspot, which we have to do anyway, and you can see these two, that's the serial numbers, unique serial numbers, they are connected. Now we need to get the IP address. Now this is the hard part, and I have to remember how to do this. I think you just connect, you click on this, is that correct? Okay, connected devices. Now your phone might be different. Some phones don't do this, and I do have a blog post which I will link where there's other ways to get the IP address, but luckily generally you just have to do it once, and then your POI will connect to your phone after that, no problem. Okay, so in my phone it's this little information, view details, and we get this number over here. Okay, now very important, you need, okay, so menu for information, we need to type this number down. Now that is important. Okay, so we're going to type dot, I'm just going to put these down, we're going to type this number 240.194.531. Okay, and there's another number for the other poi. So here we go, information. I have no idea why it's so hidden, but this, at least we found, before I was using a laptop to try and find this number. Anyway, 10.240. Your number could be completely different. This is the address on the hotspot of your poi. 194.251. Okay, so we've saved those. Here I'm actually going to press save. There we go, and okay. So now we can go, we are still connected to the hotspot. We can go here to the SmartPoi controls. Okay, we've set up our access point so we can connect. We need to double check that. Okay, it didn't say failed, so it should be fine. Now there's one thing we can do, and that is if you can find the hotspot. No, we don't need to, but this discover thing I noticed the other day, it does work. So 240.194, and then we just put 1 here, so you can see the first 3 numbers are the main kind of area address, and then the other one's the specific house number or something. If you want to say that. Anyway, if you click on discover, it should just discover your poi. So we've got these. That's the wrong numbers though. I didn't find the second one. Okay, discovered 1 poi. So yeah, we're gonna have to type this in separately. So it found one. So 10.240.251. Okay, set. Alright, so kind of important to get those numbers. The discovery thing doesn't normally always work. We're going to double check it by fetching the settings, and settings updated. We can also do another check, going here to the file list. If we can get the list of files, then we are definitely cooking. So yeah, I think that's the testing the connection part. And then I've made a couple of notes in the router mode. Like I said, poi always swap between access and station mode. So access point is where your poi is the router. So your poi, it's this one here, access point, and then the second time it starts up, it'll start up and try to connect to either router or your smartphone. And then next time we'll go back to doing this. That's because if you lose the smartphone and the access point and everything, then these things can still be accessible by using this main poi as an access point. All very technical, but I did write a blog post about this, and that was before I had my Samsung phone, so I couldn't find these numbers, and I put down a bunch of other ways to do it. If you don't have a Samsung, it might be different, like I said, but the idea is to find these numbers, and also to input the information, and everything works a lot faster. Generally 60 pixels, we need to update that. If you fetch the settings, it generally updates everything. Or sometimes you need to just close and restart the app so it can restart. I had another set of POI connected, so let's just double check. There we go, 120 pixels. Let's see if it says 120 on here. Yes, it does. Now we can fetch the images, and you'll see I've got a few images on my POI. And if you want to show them on the POI, just click on that. There we go. Obviously all the usual images, that type of thing is working, and it's much more reliable. So you get your POI connection to your app, and you get a lot of better reliability. And if you get messages, you can see I'm still connected to the internet here. It's telling me I've got 4G. So that is that. Let me know if you have any questions, and hopefully I've made your SmartPoi a bit better. Thanks for watching, and like and subscribe. Join the Patreon.